Welcome to episode 0 of the Route Podcast. I'm Christopher Nascimento. I'll be the host of this podcast, and really this episode won't be like the other ones that I'll be releasing going forward. This one's more of a little background synopsis, you can say, about myself, so you can get a little idea of who you're listening to and who I am. So if you maybe want just a quick read of this episode, you can go to my website called synopsis.ca. I have a blog called How to Become a Sport Marketer, and it's kind of a similar version of this episode. But if not, enjoy. I hope you enjoy this episode, and we'll go from there. So as of today's date, March 24th, 2020, I'm currently a marketing and business development manager for Charlie Hustle Sports. It's a software developers startup who's created 3 hockey apps, Keeper 40, Pro Elements, and Keeper 40 Lite. And it's really to help bring teams, scouts, coaches, etc., parents even, to bring them to 2020 with modern technology and modern processes to become more efficient. So that company and myself are based in Ottawa, but I'll kind of go into more about me. So I'm a recent marketing graduate from the University of Ottawa, specifically Telfer School of Management with the Honors Bachelor of Commerce in Marketing. I actually just finished in December. I sped up my degree. And yeah, from there, I've just been working on various items and trying to move forward from there. But I didn't always really start in accounting or in marketing. I actually started in accounting. So at a later date, maybe I'll tell that story in more depth. But I kind of realized midway through my university career that accounting wasn't for me. I wasn't going to be happy doing it for 40 to 50 years. I just didn't have the passion I had for it. And the way I work, the way my mind works, the way I would be happy and more fulfilled and be passionate about whatever position I'm in would be through marketing and specifically sports marketing. So once I had that realization, I really kind of wanted to fulfill that as best as I could. Only issue was I had no connections in sports or marketing. I wasn't really sure where to start. So I kind of just started Googling around. Didn't really find anything specific. Never really got any great answers. And considering I was in third year and I didn't really go to any networking events at the time, I was really nervous to do so because it's a big step, I guess you can say. So I ended up going to a networking event by MLSE, Maple Leaf Sports Entertainment Group, in Toronto, hosted by Teamwork Online. And from there, that was July of 2019. And that's really where everything kind of started kicking off for me in sports marketing. I met some great people there. I gained some amazing advice and tips. And I wanted to continue that momentum back in Ottawa. So I started going for coffee chats, meeting with professors, and really kind of share my story and hear maybe what others are saying and maybe what I could apply to my own career path or route, you can say. And I ended up meeting with a professor. He set me up with Charlie Hustle Sports because he believed I'd be a great fit with them. And then I just continued going for different coffee chats. And I've been learning so much from people who are in sports, who are not in sports, but were in marketing, worked for a startup, or all different sorts of people, whether it's just career or life advice. I've really taken away so much from them. And this is kind of a similar thing that I'm trying to do where it's kind of taking those coffee chats and bringing it to the next level by sharing my story and their stories as well, and hopefully it'll help others. But so, as I mentioned, I was in accounting, and the whole reason of the coffee chats was to really push myself and kind of really set myself up for sports marketing. So with that, I also needed to kind of brand myself, I guess, because if you Googled me, a year or two ago, you really wouldn't find anything except that I had experience in accounting in the government, and I worked at TD Place when I was younger as well, when you go on my LinkedIn. So I really wouldn't, that's not eye-catching, that's not what employers would want to see. So I started working with the startup, and then I created a website called cnascimento.ca. It has everything about me, my career through sports and different projects I'm working on. And then I really kind of started this brand, I guess you can say, or not publication, platform for people to see what I'm doing, and that's Nascimento MKTG on Twitter and Instagram, and then I kind of share the same things on LinkedIn and Facebook time to time. So from them, I've been always trying to develop different ideas, whether it's just creating a podcast, maybe trying to see if there's other business opportunities that I could do on the side as a side hustle. But let's go back to the podcast idea and how it came about. So it was actually from one of my coffee chats with Jacob Kelly. He does digital and social for the Red Blacks, and he'll be a future guest coming up. And while speaking to him, I really saw how I could really take my coffee chats and bring them to the next level. So I had the idea that I wanted to start my podcast, and he was helping me out with that. And here I am, December 2019, last semester of university. Life kind of got in the way with my final assignments, my exams, things like that. And once all of that ended, kind of wanted to celebrate. So I went to Boston with a friend, went to go watch a Patriots game. Luckily I did because it was Brady's last regular season win, which was unfortunate, but that's a side note. And came home for Christmas. Then I went to Australia. But then when I got back from my Australia trip, what was it? I think it was my first or second day back. OSEG, the Ottawa Sport Entertainment Group, and Telfer School of Management, the school I just finished graduating from, had a networking event for students and previous students. So I was there, I was mingling, and I was speaking to others from first, second, third year, etc. And we're kind of just talking about what we wanted to do and things like that. So people were telling me how they wanted to be in baseball analytics, sports marketing, uh, financial advisor, etc. It was all great stuff. And I was pretty impressed, and then I wanted to know what they were doing, so maybe I could take a little nugget from them and apply it myself. And when I asked, I'm like, "Oh, what are you guys doing?" Because I really wasn't doing anything specific to get myself in the right place at your age. And everyone kind of had the same answer, which kind of made me realize something. When they said that, oh, they didn't really know what to do and how they're just going to continue working at their jobs and maybe they'd apply online and hopefully it would work out one day, but it's kind of too risky for them now. And they didn't really have a sense of direction of where to go. And that's when it clicked. The light bulb hit me. And I realized this podcast needs to start. So then here I was in January of 2020, just graduated. And one of the new projects I wanted to start was the podcast, The Route. And it was really to focus on sports, business, people's routes and how they got there or where they're going and how they plan on getting there or what people are trying to do. So I really wanted to create a podcast and speak to people of all different levels, whether it's a director, a manager, someone who's an intern, or someone who's actually still a student. And just kind of grab all these different perspectives and maybe give those experiences some exposure so maybe people can learn from it, maybe take a little piece of it and apply it to their route, or they could maybe hear someone that was on my podcast and be like, oh, you know what? I need to connect with that person, but they otherwise wouldn't have known who they were. So maybe from seeing their name or hearing their interview, they'll message them and a connection is born. So I just really wanted to help further that while also building my network and furthering it past Ottawa into different markets and learning so much more and really continuing what I really started off with my coffee chats. So that's really the whole story of myself, I guess you can say at the moment, and how the podcast got started. So as of today, it's Tuesday, March 22nd or 24th. 24th, Tuesday, March 24th. And the first episode will be released March 26th. So going forward, I believe it will be every Wednesday, Thursday at 5 a.m. every second week. And that's the plan going forward. But with all the different coronavirus things going on, I may adjust it. And if I continue to get as many guests as I currently am, I may make a little adjustment just for these times as everyone's at home and have some spare time. And maybe I'll make it every week, or if it's really good, maybe make it 2 times a week. And then once things kind of settle down and go back into regular schedules, I'll make it every second week or every week. But that's it for now. If you have any questions, message me on LinkedIn, Christopher Nascimento, or follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Nascimento Marketing. So that's NASCIMENTO And follow me, message me, reach out to me, whatever. I'd love to speak to everyone, and I hope to have you all as listeners going forward. Much appreciated, and thanks for listening.